Okay, here's my mix tutorial. I'm gonna its first part of this is gonna be basically gain staging and some preparation work that I would normally do before I begin a mix. Um, as far as the mix is concerned, it's a Afro beat that I put together. Loop. It's stuff like bass shaker, lots of percussion, drums, African percussions. But you can see from about 10 tracks, I have basically a total of about 25 mix channels that I'm gonna be working with. Um, what I'm gonna do is first I'm gonna set up most all my faders are at 0 dB. Then I'm gonna do gain staging. I haven't actually messed with any of the volumes at the particular instruments because they also have their own volume. But if I need any of that volume, I can go back and actually add it while I'm trying to get my gain. If some of the volumes are too low, I could go back here and get it. But basically, I'll be working here. One of the first things I'll do since I'm working in Reason and the mixer is very big and spread out. I would get rid of things that I don't need in front of me, such as the EQ. I'm not working with the EQ. I'm not working with effects. I'm not really working with dynamics, and I'm not really working with inserts. So I've downsized the mixer to basically just my gain, which is up here to do my gain stage and my inputs and my faders. Um, since I have basically most before I started this setup, I basically put most of the parts for the mix together. So you can see I have my drum pads here, and it happened to be colored, which I didn't haven't set that up yet, but I would do. And then and a lot of African percussions, which is these here. And then here's my actual other instruments that I have in the mix. I have don't have a audio track, so I'll get rid of that. But to begin with, one of the first thing I'll do is that I lay out all my tracks. I normally have my kick as my first um, mix channel. Then I'll go with my snare, would be my hi hats, my rim shot. Um, if I have toms, crash, any of that. This is all well, you could say not well, it's all MIDI drums that I put together in there. It's not any live drums, but I'll play it a little bit and then I'll get to what talk about some of the stuff I will do with the track. So take a listen to the track. As you can see, a lot of the levels are actually low and they're not up to where they should be. So that is where I'm gonna use my gain to get to what I want to get the levels up to where I want to get the levels. Sometime I may need to go in here and actually add levels that are not up to where I want it to be. But anyhow, this is it. So the first thing I'll do, I have my kick, snare, rim shot, hi hat. I would select all of those and I will create a bus and I would send all those to a bus and I would name that bus drum bus. So that would take all the drums. Then I will go to my percussion tracks. I will normally color them the same as I do, and I will create a new bus for the percussion tracks and call it percussion bus. Now I have all my African tracks. I select all of those and I create a new bus for these. And they are the AFBUS. The reason why I use the buses is that in the end I could apply EQ, I could play effects, I could apply dynamics to an entire bus. It should affect everything overall, even though in the mix I would apply EQ and basically compression to individual elements. I would also have it, I could actually compress the bus itself to make it sit better in the mix. These other instruments here, I would select, let me move the bass maybe here, separate it. This is drum, so I'll use this. Let me move this. So I'll use these three kind of percussive instruments, and I would select these and also send them to a bus. I'll name it instrument bus. Now I'm left with just this, and for now I'll leave that and the vibes by themselves, and I would create another bus, and name this bus okay, I'll leave that for now. What I would do here, set the color this so they all look the same. So now I'm working on namely I like to take all my bus channels and put them at the end of the console. Moving around things in Reason could be kind of tricky sometimes to get them the way you want them to go. So now at the end of my thing, okay, I thought I did. So I'll move these two and get them all the way over here. So I have three buses set up. Still have two instruments here that still doesn't have any bus. So what I'll do, I'll make it this color so I know I can come back to this. These buses here, I'll change the color of the buses. These are things that you don't really have to do, but these things that I would do to lay out my mixer so I don't get lost during when I'm looking for what I'm looking for. So I know all my buses are in orange. I have two tracks here that don't have any buses assigned, and I have my instrument buses purple, a hot pink. My African buses, instruments is green. I don't have a bus for the bass yet, and my percussion, my drums. I would then, oh, let me move this down. I didn't see this there. So I have my African bus. Make this here color orange also. Now my bass and my cantel and my vibes, I will create a new bus, which I don't think. How can I create a bus? Let me create a mix channel. create a mix channel, which is this, and I think I could name this let me see if I can create a bus by just create a parallel channel. Okay, I wanted to create that's not right. In the end, what I would do, I would create a two mix bus. That's what I wanted to do. But I just can't remember how to set it up yet. I think I have to do it on the other side, but I would do that eventually so that I would send a mix to a two mix bus before hitting my master bus. My master is always set at 0, so I'll go through the individual tracks now. And what I would do, I would play the kick. So the kick is hitting about -19. So I can go up here and look for the kick, push the volume up a little bit. I'll also do it with the snare to get a little more from the actual channel, from the actually read drum, and get it up there. So now you can see it's hitting close to 0 even before it did anything else to it. So I'll go to the snare, and the snare is still hitting there, so I'll adjust my gain to bring my snare up to where I want. And you can see my gain is really high. Right now I'm maxing out my gain, so I'll go here, look at my snare, and put some more volume on it, get some more bite on it, and then I can go back and back off some of my gain. So I have my kick and my snare hitting close to the same area. So I'll bring in my rim shot, which is slow. Let me check my volume here and the rim shot. So I bring that up. And now let me back this back a little bit. I bring my rim shot. I bring my rim shot up higher to get it to 0 dB, and I'll do the same for my hi-hats. I'll look at my hi-hats over here and my open hi-hats. I come back here and they're already in a good area, so I will leave that as it is. Then I come to my percussion track, which they are not playing so often, but I'll see the percussion is hitting really low. Over here, I think it's this one here. No, it's okay. So what I'll do, I'll bring all up, since I'm not sure which one is actually hitting. Oh no, I'm sorry. So I'll bring all these up. In this case, to try to get full volume from them. So I know when I'm over here now, I can see this is hitting pretty good now. I'll bring it up a little bit. If here you could hear a slight noise in the back. So I'll bring this one up. This one is hitting some almost to 0. And I'm go to my other percussion track. So you can bring that up more. So that's okay. So right now it's not basically about listening to the sound. I'm just trying to make sure I could get the gain as high as where I needed to get without introducing distortion. Sorry, I didn't want to move the fader. Just want to work with my gains. So well, here's my bass track. That's pretty good. Okay. So this one is hitting kind of soft. I bring it up. You can notice I'm not getting any distortion. My signals are still clean because I'm still trying to stay below or close to 0 dB as possible. This one here is really hitting good, so I'm not too keen on that one. This one's hitting a bit soft. I'll try and get that one up a bit higher. That's good. This one's hitting real soft. I'm not sure where that instrument is playing over here. Let me go down and see if I can find that track. Okay, so that track is right here. That's coming from this. So I guess it's one of these instruments here. And you can see all my instruments here. Their volumes are already set. So this is kind of hard to find it there, but for now, I'll try and get it up a bit higher without maxing out. Okay, this one. Try and get that. Actually, I could go here since they are playing right there, and go here and try to get it to just loop, so I don't have to waste a lot of time. All those three are good. Go back here and let's see if I could get some more of the stuff I'm looking for. Okay, so I could bring this up a little bit. Okay, so you can know where that is located over here. That is okay, I could get a little more volume on that, which is good. So my last one I need to get is my shaker, and the shaker is this one here. So I'll push that up a little bit. Sorry, I didn't want to do that. I wanted to get to my gain and bring it up. So now I have actually I could release the. This is actually now all my tracks that I have the gain station done. From here, what I would do, I would go back and select all my channels from my first mix channel down to all these channels here, and I would put all of them back to 0. So now I have a clean mixing slate. All my channels are set to nothing, so there's no audio would be coming through, but my gains is already set. So now what I would do is that I would start to do a fader mix, and I would just do a rough fader mix. That would take some time, but instead I'll work on doing a fader mix because I don't want to make the tutorial too long. So I'll put it on. I'll just push up some volumes to listen to what I got. And you can see now with my gain already set, I don't need to have all the high volume to get things to play. So I'm just trying to listen to the individual instruments and bring them into the mix accordingly, so I could hear what um what I'm doing, you know. So let me start from the beginning and have it start from there. Um so you can see I'm bringing all the instruments in. A lot of them is competing for space, but that would be taken care of in the EQ section, and also with panning my tracks to help get certain stuff out of the way of each other. This is just a static fader mix that I'm looking at. So that's all my faders playing, and you can see I will not go to my mix buses. It would always stay at 0. What I would know normally, in the next video I would go into how I would pan and EQ these tracks and put them in different perspective. Right now this is just a static level mix, so I could hear all the elements, and I would use these tracks now to set up where I'm gonna place them in the mix, and then by panning each element in the mix I need to pan, I could either bring up the volume some more or bring down the volume, depends on how I need it. But you can see at the moment, even though I brought my gains up, well, let me you see I still have, so what I can do now, I'm still almost hitting my levels. It's still good, it's not well, it's about 0. So what I would do in a case like this, I would select all my channels after I got that static mix going. I select all these channels and I back them off. Now if I could back them back to 0, but here's the thing, once I bring them up, they all are gonna come up in comparison to where they were. So I would think that some of my gains could be really kind of hot, but you see if you look at my meter there, it's really up high, but so I can still bring them down lower. Eventually I would still bring it down lower. It's my but other than that, right now that is good for where it is. I would continue moving faders around to get the setting what I want. I will do that in the next tutorial, where I would start working on panning and actually start to mix the track from each instrument, EQ, compression, and that stuff. And I'll still look at, I wouldn't need to look so much at my inserts, but I'll basically look at EQ and dynamics, which there's a lot of good. This whole section is compressors, so I would use that to do the other section, which would be mixing the faders more precisely, EQ, panning, compression. So that's all for now. Take care.